Hola mi gente, hey guys, welcome to my channel Flavor. The flavor today is Jon Stewart interviewing George Carlin. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for any future videos. So, without any further ado, let's take a look at Jon Stewart interviewing George Carlin, and this is part one.
And Bob Hope. So, how do you think this thing is working out so far? Looking back.
Well, I knew I wanted to stand up and, and be silly and have people say, isn't he cute? Isn't he cute and clever? And that's all it was a reward, a psychic reward, when you're a kid and you find out that you can get the attention of adults and approval and a little bit of respect, and you just hunger for it, you keep going back for it. And I have, fortunately, genetic, my little toolkit, my genetic toolkit I was given, included a mother and father who were very funny people, could do accents and dialects and tell funny stories about what happened on the bus that morning and have a punchline. So you don't lick it off the rocks, they say in Ireland. So I thank my grandmother's milkman, actually. Which might have been,
don't lick it off the rocks.
It's interesting, as I watch you now and through all the years of listening to your albums and things, your fascination with language is so apparent. Watching you work is almost like watching a musician. The way you weave words and use language for emphasis and all that. Was that always a fascination for you, even as a kid?
Well, to go backwards with the question, don't forget what we do is oratory. It's rhetoric. It's not just comedy, it's a form of rhetoric. And with rhetoric, you look and you listen for rhythms. You look for ways to sing at the same time you're talking and to go and it's just natural. My grandfather, whom I never knew, was a policeman in New York at the turn of the century, and he was an uneducated man, self-educated, and he, in the course of his adult life, he wrote out the works of Shakespeare by hand because of the joy it gave him.
That's an obsessive young man.
Yeah, and most everything is genetic. And my mother cared a lot about language. And my father was a champion public speaker of 1935. He won the Mahogany Gavel over 800 other public speakers from the Dale Carnegie Public Speaking Institute. And
wow.
He was great. I never knew him either.
Wow. That's something.
Wow.
Were your parents put off by the direction that you went into when you started to go counterculture? Was it a difficult transition for them to watch?
Well, he was out of the picture. He was brilliant, and he was a top salesman in advertising, but he couldn't metabolize ethanol efficiently. So he was given his hat. My mother was very brave. She left him. I was 2 months old, and my brother was 5 years, and she left down a fire escape. So he was gone. My mother was very kind of controlling, wanted to control my life, and was heartbroken when I began with the dirty language and the awful stuff he says about business. She was an advertising executive secretary, loved the business world, thought it was just the finest thing that ever happened. And so when I went in that direction at first, very opposed. Until one day we lived on the same street that I grew up, that I went to school in. I went to school on the same block I lived on, something like that. Corpus Christi School, and the nuns were great. It wasn't a typical Catholic school. It was an experimental progressive school that didn't have grades, didn't have any sort of corporal punishment. It was just very, very wonderful school. And the nuns, she would see the nuns in the street, and they would say, "Oh, we saw George on the Tonight Show." And she, being a bit of an actress, she would say, "Oh, it's the awful language, sister. The awful language." And one said, no, you don't understand. He's using it for other purposes. He's not just doing it for that. It's kind of like part of what he does. Don't you understand? It's this and that and so forth. So she said, oh. And from that day on, she was okay with it because the church had approved it.
Because the non-church convinced her. All right. Church approved it. That's the only reason. Because the church approved it.
People who deal in content that's on the edge as you do oftentimes live a life that's similarly on an edge.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of those people go off the rails.
Yeah.
And we lose them and their talent. And you've been able to not do that and been able to pull it back in and
another luck stroke. You know, you got to have luck in this world. Part of it's your genetic makeup, that's luck. And then what you do with it is also partly genetic, because hard work is genetic. The desire to do hard work, the willingness to work hard and be determined and not be turned aside, that's all genetic too. It can be altered and a little reinforced, but some of the people who had so much edgy promise, they died young. I mean, Lenny Bruce, Sam Kinison, Andy Kaufman in his way,
Sure.
Freddie Prinze, John Belushi, Bill Hicks.
Right.
And it's just, I don't know,
Wow.
of course Bill had a natural disorder of his own, I think so did Andy, but it's not always behavior, but sometimes it's just genetic. But
There you have it, part 1. Jon Stewart and interviewing George Carlin. A lot to say there. I appreciate it, man. Very introspective. Speaking about some of the comedians of the past that just didn't make it. You know what I mean? And the only time, the time when his mother approved of it, is only when the church approved of it. Anyway, part 2 is coming up soon. Hope you enjoyed it. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for any future videos. Until next time, deuces.
Won't you